Well, hello, I'm back again. Hey, Charlotte. Let me see if I got everything set. Maybe I do. Maybe. All right, who's here? Waiting on Joanna. She was going to teach a tutorial in a little bit. Oh. Hey, Rhonda. And how are you this afternoon?
Very well.
Well, you better put that hair up. We can work better with our hair up. You know that?
Yes, it's wild.
I know. I was on there this morning quilting already, but then I'm not done, so I come back.
I went to church.
Told them I took a lunch break and then I come back. And Joanna's supposed to have a tutorial for them this afternoon. I'm making them dish towels that go around your neck. I think that's what she's going to do.
Who's
Hello,
Joanna?
Mary. Hello, Mary Webb. Joanna's over there. She's got to get up here. She's in the chat.
Oh, let's see. You're gonna click on.
Hey, Carol Seymour. Hey, Cheryl.
Oh, I'm thirsty. I need my water.
We're getting some sprinkles here today. You know, the other day when all that rain come, we didn't get nothing. Can you believe it? And I'm just 2 counties over.
Yeah.
So we're proud to be getting this little bit today.
Yeah. I hope we get some more.
Mm-hmm. but didn't Conway or near Conway? Did y'all have flooding? No, did I hear you? Or was that north of you? Or was it Conway?
It was flooding in Conway.
Oh, okay.
I saw it on the news. I saw the pictures. I had no idea in the city it was doing that.
I know, and I can't believe that one place had like 17 inches just in a short amount of time. That was awful. And Cheryl's asking where you're at. Rhonda, and it's Central Arkansas is where Rhonda is.
Yep. Right around Little Rock.
Yeah. I'm West Central, but Rhonda's right in the middle. Or RV, Rhonda, RV. I don't know which one they know you by exactly. Some of them know your first name, and some of them don't.
Yeah, Rhonda. But my YouTube is RV Quilt Quest, but I don't have anything on there yet.
Do you plan on it someday?
I don't know. I have to learn how first.
Oh, it's kind of a job. It really is. To make the content, so it's easier for me every once in a while just to sit down and talk and not have to make a tutorial. And Cheryl has made 2 Sunday Drive quilts. Got them pinned and ready to quilt on her Janome machine this week. She's made 2 of them.
Sunday Drive. What's that look like? I have to look that up.
I found it in a book. So it's in a book. So you probably won't find it, but it's pretty. It's hard to describe. Just little 4.5 inch and 2.5 inch squares put together that make a pretty pattern, but that's what all quilts do, ain't it?
Yes, and sad to say, I probably have it somewhere in one of my books.
Probably. Yeah. And we've been making them out of make them scrappy, so they're really cute.
I like scrappy. That's my favorite.
Uh-huh. Oh, I don't know. I like new fabric too, though. I don't think, Rhonda, you're not on Facebook, are you?
Yes.
We're not connected, though, are we, on Facebook? I don't think.
I don't think so.
Because Cheryl posted hers on my Facebook page.
Both of my Sunday Drive pinned and ready to quilt.
There comes Joanna.
That's my favorite.
Joanna, you got something not muted.
I don't think, Rhonda, you're not on. That's right. I had my. That's right. I had my phone on, and
Okay. Are you going to teach them to make something while I quilt?
I can do that, ma'am.
You told them you would. It was your idea, and you told them you would.
I'm right here.
Joanna is in North Carolina. Can't tell you which town. She's told me a half a dozen times, but it hadn't stuck.
It's about 20 minutes outside of Wilmington, North Carolina, on the coast. Hello, Miss Cheryl.
I'm trying to think, Cheryl. I'm trying to think where you are, and it's not clicking with me where you told me you were. Hey, Deb.
Davidson.
Hug Mama Quilter. Uh-oh.
Let's see.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. I laid down for a few minutes and fell asleep. So I'm here.
After lunch, I sat in my chair for a few minutes. I thought, oh, I better get up and move before I do fall asleep too. So I jumped up and come back up here.
Sometimes my body just goes, nope.
Yeah. Hey, Fernie, she says, hi, ladies. Fern here from Minnesota, and I have a quilt sandwich all pinned and ready to go on my 1946 Singer machine. It will be my third one, and to quilt and any and all hints will be terrific, she says. And she says thanks. So she needs some hints, I guess, on quilting it on the machine. Y'all help Fernie out.
And Cheryl's from Carrollton,
Missouri. I remember that now. I'd forgotten, but I remember now. You had to jog my memory, Cheryl, on where you was.
It's been a long time since I've been to Missouri. Let me pull something out here.
Hello, Linda Denton. How are you today? Let Joanna get set up. Let's see. If I make you big, let me see how big you are, because you look like you're on your phone or something.
I'm on my iPad.
Well, because you got a little narrow screen.
I can try and I don't have my computer charged or set up.
Okay, well,
I wonder if I can put it sideways.
I don't know. Have no idea myself.
I don't either. I was hoping to upgrade my iPad, and that didn't happen. Does this work? Is that better?
Let me see. And now I'm gonna. Oh, that's going to be a whole lot better, isn't it? For you to show them
yes, ma'am.
When you're
just a couple minutes. I pulled the wrong fabric.
She's getting ready, and then me and Rhonda's going to be way in the background for a little bit. Hey, Teresa.
Everybody was still coming in for a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Themselves set up.
They are. Hey, Teresa. Oh, Cheryl's way up there, south of the Iowa line, about 90 miles. You're way up there.
Yeah.
Hey, Diane KY. What's Joanna teaching today? What do you call that? You said dish towel around your neck, but I didn't know how to put that in the description.
I call it a kitchen scarf.
Kitchen scarf. There you go. That word wouldn't come to me. Kitchen scarf. That's what she's going to teach.
Yeah, just towel around your neck.
Let's see. Fernie's using a walking foot and planning on doing curvy lines edge to edge. She's afraid of the quilt bunching as you get to the end. I'd be afraid of that too, to be honest with you, Fernie. I don't machine quilt, so I'm the wrong person to give you any advice.
Well,
now, and Deb says, hey, Diane.
I think, Fernie, you either need to pin it down good to your batting with
and a lot of them use a basting spray and basting powder and stuff too.
Yeah, or to use some kind of basting powder or spray, because both of those will adhere your fabric tightly to the fabric, so it doesn't shift as much and it doesn't bunch up, and because you don't want to just lay your fabric on top.
I saw that. Hugo Homestead says Biden out and Harris is in now. I saw that a few minutes ago. He should have done that a long time ago. Yeah. And we won't get into politics, even though I have a strong opinion. We won't get into it.
Yeah, well, I think a bunch of us have a strong opinion,
but we still want
but
to
we
be
can't go
friends. So we're gonna not say too much about it. But that's breaking news that everybody needs to know.
in this climate. Yeah, it's a tough.
Oh, I remember several years ago, I lost one of my best friends from high school over Obama. So I won't.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's so
And now,
sad.
we never did really make up very well. And then she passed away here a couple years ago. So it's not. It's just news. I know that. Hoga, that's what I was reminding. But just no politics, just news. Yeah.
It's what's sad about it is we used to be able to sit down and have a discussion, and if you didn't, even if it got a little heated or became a debate, if you didn't agree, you come back later and you eat dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, it was never.
Yeah. Hey, Cindy and Cheryl. Cheryl has told Fernie to do a decorative zigzag stitch over the seams or a crosshatch design. That'd work. And so Fernie thinks that a good idea. Are you ready, Joanna?
I'm ready.
Cheryl Janome has the serpentine stitch, which is a wave stitch. She really likes her new machine.
I pulled myself together, Miss Rita.
All right, I'm gonna leave you. You're gonna, Rhonda. Joanna's gonna take over for a little bit. We're gonna be in the background.
Hi, Rhonda. It's nice to see you today.
And I'm gonna mute myself too. There, okay. You're big.
Oh, that's scary. Okay. Now, I've never done this before, so for a kitchen scarf, which basically is this, it's a strip of fabric with a hand towel on each end. So instead of having to grab an apron and tie it on, you can grab this, put it around your neck, and your body is covered, and you can grab a hot pan lid, wipe your hands, wipe a dish off, and you got two sides. You can use any cotton fabric for the design. A friend of mine had wanted some with this African print fabric, so I had made them up and was ready to do the top stitch when she said she didn't want them. But they're very simple, but practical. Now, they're only like, I think, 5 or 6 seams. So the first thing you need to do is find a hand towel. You can use any hand towel you want. I prefer these after looking. They're just simple Walmart hand towels. They have a nice thickness but aren't too heavy. And one towel is long enough to make one boa, or one scarf. Sometimes I call them a boa because I cut it in half. Because if you don't, then you have this going down to your knees. Once you have your towel, you measure this. So this is a 16 by 26 inch. So you need your fabric to be just a hair over 16 inches and with the fabric. So that's what you do. You take a piece of fabric. You can cut it exactly 16 inches, but typically I cut it about 16 1/4 and then trim it because I don't always sew straight, or sometimes things get wiggly, and then it's with the fabric. And once you have your width of fabric cut, you cut off. I cut off the salvages. And I meant to cut another piece because this one, see, and this is another reason. You see how this one didn't get cut straight. It got wobbly, but that's all right. So let me cut these salvages off real quick, and we'll get rolling here. So I don't know if you want to go through the whole process while Miss Rita is doing her. I'm trying to keep an eye on chat too. If you want me to go through the whole process and sew one together with you as best I can with my camera set up, or if you want me to show you basically how simple it is to put together. And if you have questions, you can't. Thank you, Deb. I appreciate that. If you can't hear me or you have questions, just pop it up in the chat. So I'm going to take this salvage off. And I've made them with lemons on purple, or because I had some lemons that were on a purple background. I've made them with this African fabric. I've made them with cookbook and vegetable, and one of my favorites is this migration fabric. I really like this with a lavender towel. And I don't have one of these because every time I've made one of these, someone has claimed it. So now I have the ends, the salvages. Let's go myself. So then I'm going to fold my towel in half, so basically this is a 16 by 26 inch. So if you don't buy such a humongous hand towel, you want this, when you do want to buy a hand towel, you want this to be about 13 to 15 inches. Otherwise, it gets too long. Especially if you're a shorter person. So usually all I do is put this together like this, stick one pin in it, and then just cut right down the middle. See if I can see. I'll just put one. Let's put one pin in it to hold the edges and it as even as possible. And then I take a pair of scissors and cut it in half. Right at the fold. And then if I need to, I can trim it up. I have used tea towels and flour sack towels, and the only towels I didn't like, microfiber, because the microfiber towels tend to stick to my fingers and cling. So that's what you have. You have one half of a towel. Here's the other half of the towel. And you can, if you've got little fuzzies, you can clean it up. So the next thing you do is you find the, how did I do this now? Trying to retract my steps back in my brain, because the first thing you do will sew the towel. Okay, so you find the right side of the fabric, and this, because it's a petite, there is no right side. And you take your towel and you place it on there. And if I'm going too fast, let me know. But this is, so you will take your towel and put it on the right side of the fabric, like this, with the towel seam up against the fabric. And typically I pin it right to the edge. And sometimes I get this on the wrong side of the fabric. You know, so that then I have to go back and kind of rethink things, because you'll see this raw edge if you don't get it tucked on there right. So you pin that on both ends of your scarf. So like sometimes I'll cut the tag off because it's annoying. Sometimes I'll leave the tag on because it has the washing instructions included. Now, when I do this second end, thank you, Charlotte, of the kitchen boa, I usually fold it kind of like this, so that I have the edges similar on both ends. So I will take it and I will lay it out. My work area, I need to clean it up. I'm usually over there. Anyway, I'll take it and I'll lay it out like, I'll show you in just a minute. I keep scratching my nose. Must have towel farf. So usually I lay it out like that, and I bring the opposite end down so I can get kind of the corners the same. So what I try and accomplish to make it easier is trying to get the same amount of leftover on one side as I have on the other side, so the towel is kind of basically centered in the same place. If you don't want the towel flying around like this when you're sewing it and doing the prep, stick a pin in it. I use a lot of clips, but pins for something like this hold it easier. J. Mary, hi J. Mary. Miss Rita is doing the long arm while I try and show you how to do a kitchen scarf. So bring this down, making sure I have right side up. I'll pin this side to it. Nobody told me if you want me to do the sewing part or just the teaching part. And pin it. Now, the other reason why I typically leave a little space here is the towels sometimes stretch a little when you're sewing it. And if you do it exactly the size of the width of your towel, sometimes you're a little tight, because what's going to happen is once you get these sewn, your towel sewn on the end, is you're going to flip it together like this. You're going to flip it together and you're going to sew a seam. Flip it together like this and you're going to sew a seam all the way down the middle. So when you turn it right side out, this is what you have. And you have your towel neatly tucked into the end. And then what happens is you take your tube and put the seam in the middle, move it over to put it in the middle as best you can. And then you put a top stitch. I like to put a top stitch to close up this little pocket. And that's it. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seams to make these. So once you have this pin, you just sew across here. You just sew across the raw edge. And if you want, I can go do that and come back and do the next step, or I could just tell you. Because once you have it sewn across the raw edge, you are going to take, it's going to be like this, sewn on. And you're going to take this side, all right, let me go sew this on. Let me just go sew this on so I can show you. I can take you with me. I'm sorry I don't have my computer or something fancy to do the picture better. So I'll sew this on and then we'll do the next step. Once you get the knack of it, it's very simple. But I have used, woven towels like this. Of course, my dogs have been, and they're like just a woven towel. I've used towels that I've found that are like this. And the whole key is, what's the width here? Because that's the width of your fabric times, you'll cut your piece this wide with just a tad for error. And then you're going to leave it the width of the fabric, one cut, and then you put it together. So let's go. And the other thing is you want to figure out how long you want it to be when you get it around your neck. The first time I made one of these, I used one of these hand towels. I thought, boy, this seems long. And so I left it. I didn't cut it in half. And it went down past my knees. And I thought, no. And I took it out and cut it in half. And that idea was born. I think the length I make is fairly comfortable because it puts the towel here kind of at the hip length. So we're moving. And turn Phoenix on. And look. And everything's falling because it's not set up. There we go. Come on now. I know I'm not really set up to put you. How about I put you over here? There we go. Now listen, you were staying over there. Now you can stay over here. There we go. Problem solved. Sorry about that. And I just got some new teal thread. Took me a while to find. But as you can see, here's another example. This lady, as I said, wanted all African fabric. So when I make it, and if I kind of see how the towels kind of fall by your hip area, and that's where you tend to, that's where I tend to go to grab something, but they're not down by 28. The 28 lengths was down by my ankles, and I thought, no, that wasn't smart at all. So, let me do that. So, I better go get. I'm a little fumbly too because I have never done a YouTube tutorial. How am I doing, Miss Rita?
You're doing fine. I'll say it twice. I didn't have myself unmuted. And y'all missed it. Mr. Terry's been up here and everything while I've been behind the scenes.
Oh, we missed Mr. Terry.
He's done come and left. I don't know what he come up here for, but anyway, he's gone now. Yes, she is, Bernie. She's doing a fine job. You're doing just fine.
That gave me a minute to grab my phone, because when you have me big, I don't see the comments. So I have to have my phone on one side. And I had this so that it was sitting up better over there. I bet I put him here. Maybe he'll work. No, I better put him behind. All right, we'll just put it like that. I had it sitting at the other table, and it was sitting up to do the camera better. But over here, because I didn't practice, it's not wanting to cooperate. I wonder if yeah, there we go. All right, got you cooperating now. So I'm gonna get this thing threaded. Anyway, I'm sorry you missed Mr. Terry. I like seeing him.
He didn't mind. He didn't. I told him, I said, I'm doing the live, but I'm muted and I'm not up on the screen either. So.
No, but everybody likes to say hello.
I think he just come up here to see if I'd been doing anything.
Where is
and he did. He looked at my quilt and he said, "You don't lack much because it's up off the floor. If y'all that quilt, you know what I'm talking about. It's up off the floor because."
Yeah.
Well, you have like 3 to do.
Yeah, I've got two more after this one. But I don't know. I'm probably going to keep the birthday boy tomorrow. His mom and dad have to work, and Benny's birthday. I might bring him over here and take him fishing.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah. Hey, Deborah.
It's kind of a bummer when it's your birthday and
the parents have to work. Well, I mean, they have to work. That's what working people have to do. But
well, it's worse when your birthday is right before Christmas, because there's never time, or you're always just kind of getting a little bit gypped.
Deb, you think he thinks he's sneaky? I don't lock the doors when I'm up here. I need to lock the doors so I at least know when somebody comes in. He just got snuck in on me. All right, I'm muting myself.
Okay. I should have been better set up than to have napped, but it's okay. I snuck in and took a nap, and Rita came on just a tad earlier than I thought. So what I'm doing is I'm simply sewing about a 1/4 inch up, and I'll move this so it will fall over again. So I have the towel in here, and I'm going about a 1/4 inch up to just run a seam across. Back stitch at the front, back stitch at the end, and that's why I say it's not. It's nice because it's a practical thing, but easy to make. There you go. Come on, Phoenix, you can do it. And you do that on both sides. Hopefully she's not being too loud today. Wait a minute. She's not. What are you doing, girl? Okay. Sorry, she was sounding funky and she wasn't. It was her mama. So, back here in the middle. I had a problem the other day. I was making a bowl koozie for somebody and I didn't realize that the bobbin was having a problem. And so I bird's nested 90% of the way across the. So it took me, needless to say, about 25 minutes to unknot and fix it and start over again, which really didn't make me happy. And I just didn't catch it, you know. Normally I would catch something like that, and I didn't. No running over pins. And the reason why I say you want to try and get your edges similar on both ends is you're gonna put my light on here. You're going to meet those together when you sew the tube. So you kind of want voila. But it's weird because they stretch or something because they're always just a tad larger than when you start with, when you're sewing them down. And it's not something I have figured out. So you see, I had a good 1/4 inch here, and when I finished, it's very close to the edge. I guess it's terry cloth. Maybe it's a knack or a trick that I haven't learned yet. That's very possible. So one other side. So you see, that didn't take me long to get it pinned into place. I fought longer with the iPad to get it level and standing up than I did to sew that end. So it's a quick, so then I'll go down here and sew this end, and then we'll do the next step. Miss Rita didn't, hopefully you guys can see well enough because Miss Rita forgot to, now when I sew it terry cloth side up and fabric down. Just to let y'all know, because some people might wonder if you put the fabric on top and then sew and the terry cloth against the machine, and I don't. That way I can wiggle with the hand towel a little bit and make sure it's in a good spot. Make sure that it's staying against the edge of the fabric even as much as possible. I think I forgot to take that. And don't worry about the raw edge of the terry cloth, of the hand towel, the terry cloth, or the flour sack towel, because that will be not only hidden inside, but if you do the top edge to seal up the tube, it'll be double protected. And you won't see it. Regular foot, I turn my stitches usually down a little, maybe 225, because you're wanting to hold this. I use 50 weight thread. No special heavy duty thread, just regular thread. Has always worked. And most of
Come
the
on. Come on up, Pam. Pam's here. Hi, Linda. Hello, Pam. Hello, Denise. Hello, Echo.
I've never had one fall apart yet. And I've had some people using them for 2 or 3 years. Here's some of those fuzzies. All right. So,
hello, Pansy.
you take a nap
Hi.
for a minute while I go back over here and do the next step for you. My sewing machine has a nap feature. I can leave it on with all the settings I want, and it'll nap so that it's not. It'll nap like it's turned off. But when I turn it back on, everything, stitch or whatever I've set, is still there. So now, as you can see, both ends are now on this fabric. It was that. Then what you do next is you fold it in half all the way down. And you want to remember to fold it with your raw edges inside, because basically what you're going to be creating is a long tube which will be turned right side out for the final 2 steps. So I try and get these 2 seams let me put my other light on, because I should have picked a more contrasting color. I had this cut. Okay, so you want this kind of matching your point. You want to try and match this part with this part on the other side as closely as possible. And a lot of times, to save myself frustration, I will. Where did I throw you? And how many clips? 2 places at once. Cut. You fall because okay. Because I like my seams to stay, I will often take a dab of this Elmer's. It's Elmer's. It's not all purpose. It's the washable glue. You don't want the all-purpose, the new all-purpose. You want like just regular school glue. And I am not going more than 1/8 of an inch. I am just putting just a tiny bit right there. It will dry clear. It will, see, I have not gone very far into the seam with my little dot of glue, but it holds this. If you clip it, it will hold this together, and you tend to not have shift. I'll do that sometimes with stubborn quilting blocks if I can't get my points to line up. And so you pull this so that it's folded in half, and all the way down. And typically what I do is I fold it in half and fiddle with it, and I end up doing both ends first. I end up doing my points first, because then it fits. Give away all my little favorite secrets here. Plus, this will dry now, and these are the mini clover clips, and as you can see, they have a micro point, and they're the only ones that I know that do the micro point. So they're very good at just target holding. Now, what you want to do is put this together. You can pin it. For your skill level, pin it as much as you need to be comfortable. If you need to pin it every, couple inches, then pin away. But typically, I pin at the beginning here, and then towards the middle, and then at the end. Because for me, I'm gonna just be sewing this big long seam. I have these where the end seams where I want them. I will pin this to hold it together because it's a little weightier and will shift. Now, since I did not cut this, boy, I must have been really having a bad day when I cut this one out 6 months ago, because I really did not get it straight. Drop that pin on the floor. So what I'm talking about, as you can see, I did a terrible job cutting it straight, but that's okay, because what I'm going to do is I trim that off. I trim that off before I sew it, because I have found you're going to sew from just below where you sewed this on. You're going to sew just below here. Why is it? Okay, there we go. So here's my sewing line to put the towel on. You're going to want to go, what is that, maybe a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch underneath a bit, and start sewing. And you're going to sew basically right inside this binding line, which is about a 1/4 inch in. If I leave my flop on there, I have, my extra oops for space, I have found that it throws my seam off going down the, it's not straight, and then I end up really kind of wobbly. So I prefer to get it set up, get this tacked down where it needs to be, and then just do a quick trim right up against this edge. You guys can do, like, you don't have to do this step. You can just put your seam together, pin it or clip it, and go. And I do not have the comments sitting here next to me. I left them over by Phoenix. So I'm gonna have to get those in case you guys have questions or comments, or I'm going too fast, or I'm not making sense. I just, with my pad turned sideways, it's harder for me to get the comments to monitor. Any comments there?
Let me see. Let's see. Deb S says, you're doing a great job, Joanna.
Thank you, Deb. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Joanna. You are doing just fine. Fernie.
Well, Quirky's my middle name. Man, I cut this like I was like, what was I doing? See, this is what I was saying earlier. None of us are perfect. And this is why I usually cut about 16 1/4 to 16 1/2. And I know some people go, but that's wasting fabric. But if you have a night like I did when I cut this, where it's really kind of wonky, you're going to be glad. And if your kitchen towel stretches out just 1/8 of an inch when you're sewing across it, you are going to be very grateful for that little extra breathing room. And this is what I'm talking about for scrap. This was the excess. I mean, this is not a huge amount to me of waste, and it was insurance, and that it'll be the same all the way down, because this, besides being a little wonky, this is just, and I just do this because I have sewn these too many times and not squared up this edge, inside edge, and I have gone like fishtailed. And when you unfold it and you do the middle seam, it shows up.
June said hello to everybody. Rita, Joanna, and everyone. June.
Hi, June.
Susan said, hi, Rhonda.
What are you working on over there, ma'am?
If you're talking to me.
What are you working on, Rhonda?
I'm just cutting 2.5-inch squares out of my scraps. I made a bunch of 2.5-inch square strips, and I'm cutting 2.5-inch squares. Oh, there's a, who's that? I don't see the name with her.
Pam.
Pam. There's Miss Pam.
My grandson's home, so I went in his room and got his computer.
Where'd I go?
Well,
hey,
I
last night I ordered a Apple iPad Air online, a refurbished one. So it'll be here Friday.
Okay.
They're very good.
It was under $200.
No excuses. We just almost had to run you off a few times when you get all crackly. So.
I know. and it's the same phone, and it never did it before. So I don't understand. The guy at Walmart's phone department said maybe I needed to take it in and get it blown out or something. I don't know. Anyway, how are you fine ladies doing?
We're doing good. Yeah.
We're doing good.
Joanne, what are you making with the towels? I came in late and wasn't sure if you were just adding fabric to make them pretty.
No, I'm making a kitchen, what I call kitchen scarf or a dignity scarf. So
Okay.
so when they're done, you slip it around your neck, and you have a towel
Yeah.
on
All I
each
know is you were.
side.
Yeah. When I turned it on, all I heard you sewing was Terry, and I didn't ever pick up on what it was.
And when I was on being Rita's court jester earlier, there were some people that were like, "Oh, I'd like to know how to make those."
Oh,
And so
okay.
I told Rita that when she came back on to do her long arming, if she wanted me to show people how to put them together, because they're fairly simple to put together, I didn't mind doing that.
Okay. Yeah, I saw another lady was taking towels, especially some that might have been a little worn around the edges. She'd trim them up. She put fabric around the edge of them and made bath mats that looked nice.
That's an idea.
Yeah. Sort of fancied them up for the guest.
Gussied them up. Well, if you can reuse or stretch out something like that, that is really good.
Oh, I'm so thirsty for some reason. I can't get enough water for some reason.
Yeah, I have those days where I just literally have to have a glass in my hand. I have a puppy and cat between my legs, which they're learning to get along together. Now I've got two other cats that need to do the same thing. The cat's the 14-year-old, so she's a lot wiser than the young ones. She knows if they just get in her face, she'll just slap them.
Okay, so now you see. Well, all I did was trim this edge, even with the towel that I attached, all the way down to make it easier to keep my seam from being drunkard, so that when you go to center your seam, when you have it right side out, it makes it a lot easier.
Did she say drunkard?
What's that?
Did you say drunkard?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Drunker's path.
It's like
Drunkard?
wavy. Well, I don't know. I must have been not paying attention or something, because I really cut this. I mean, I have this, you see how uneven it was this time? And usually I cut pretty straight, just a quarter to a half, but see that piece? So I really was not having 6 months ago when I cut this piece, I really wasn't doing something right. So the first thing we did was we attached these, Pam, and now we're going to do the long seam, and then we turn it right side out, and we have 2 more seams, and it's done. That's how simple they are to make. So I'm going to move you back over to Phoenix, my machine, and hopefully everybody is. Please speak up if you have questions. If I haven't made something clear or you need to see something closer up, Rita popped in for a minute, and we changed from larger so you could see more detail to smaller. Of course, then you get to see Pam and Rhonda. But when I have my iPad sideways, it's harder for me to keep track of the chat.
Yeah, I don't see any questions.
My phone here.
J. Mary says, I'm back. I was off goofy around and not paying attention. And
yeah, sometimes, Susan, they are called a kitchen boa or a kitchen boa, but that everybody, because unless you're older, they go boa. And so it's easier a lot of times to just go kitchen scarf. I really like the name kitchen boa, but I've had so many people kind of, and you can use them as a dignity scarf too. So if you're eating something messy, you can put something nice like this over your shirt. And it keeps you from slopping it all over. And you throw it in the wash machine. It's all cotton. So again, what I do is I go about a 1/4 inch below. So if you can, okay, I don't know if you can see the seam here, but the seam where I stitch this onto this, I go about a 1/4 inch below it and start my line. And I go right up against the. I start my sewing right up against this seam, right here. So about a 1/4 inch below your attachment, right on that seam. You don't want to go too far down. You just want to go just a bit to make sure that that's tucked in. And of course, you do your back stitch, and then you just run her as straight as you can down the width of the fabric. All right, what are you doing? Oh, dog moved my foot controller. One day, my dog laid on my foot controller, and I went to lift my foot, and all of a sudden, the machine started sewing by itself, and I'm like, and it took, and I couldn't get it to stop. I did, and then I looked down, and I saw his nose was sitting on the very edge of the top of the foot controller, and I had it running. I'm like, get off of there. And she goes, but I got dementia, so I got an excuse. I'm like, dementia you.
Lucy, here. Give me that. Come here. All right, I pushed the wrong button and kicked myself out.
I don't know, all of a sudden, everybody shifted on mine.
Well, it was asking me.
Here. There we go.
Yeah.
It was asking me.
Yeah, you've done that before, and so has everybody else before. So.
Well, it was asking me if I wanted to join with my channel onto your channel, and I thought, sure, I'll try it, and then messed it up.
Oh, so it didn't work? You couldn't stream to your channel too?
I got into something. I thought, I don't know where I'm going. I need to get out of this.
We used to be able to do that, but it kind of changed up on me, and I can't get that Nightbot and stuff don't work for me anymore. So,
Mona had showed me how to do it, and then Mona decided not to do YouTube anymore. Hold on a second. It's my husband calling me. Let me go take care of him. Hello.
I'm going to mute.
Okay, so I now have as straight a seam as I can, even all the way down. So you can leave it like this, or you can do the optional trim it real quick with the pinking shears. I trim this edge I typically take a couple extra minutes and trim it, because then, I don't know, I guess it's less bulk and I don't have to worry about it fraying inside of the boa or scarf. And I've gotten to the point where I pinking shear a lot because it saves, like, doing the little snips when you're going around curves. I do all my edges on my bowl koozies like that because it removes bulk and just makes it lay better. So pinking shears are, if you have them. If you don't, you can just trim it up a little bit or leave it. It's long. It's a long seam. Now, if I did this correctly, which I have done it backwards and had the ugly seam of my towels pointing outward, and that did not make me happy. And I have had to take one of these seams out more than once. That's where that little feather tool, deplaning tool from Japan that I showed you, that cheap thing, because I can take out a whole one of these long seams in about 20 seconds, 30 seconds without ripping the fabric. So if you have to take a 40-inch seam out or whatever it is, these may be a little shorter because these are officially from the African country of Uganda, so they may not be quite as, with the fabric might be not quite as wide as a American or European standard, but it is a long seam to have to pick. So once I have done that, get rid of my threads, then we will try and do the magic. You stick your arm in here and reach down and grab the end of the other tail, pull it through, and a boa or scarf is formed. So you have like just a couple steps left, and that's how quick and easy it is. And the next step is you center. You take this seam. I've got to take it back over to my bigger table. But I center this seam as best as I can, and all the way down. I typically will iron. Sometimes I'm lazy and I just set it and then I iron when I get done. But you want that seam you just sewn to go down the middle. And I usually put a couple pins in here to hold the edge. And then you top seam. You top seam right here, just a little top seam, and it closes up this big gaping hole with the raw edge from the towel. And you have made a kitchen scarf. So, and I think I have the one. I could finish this one up. But I think I have the one that was finished over here. Did I top seam it or not? I may not have, because I was working on those. This lady wanted 10 of them, wanted different African prints for each one, and I had them all done except for the top seaming, and she bailed on me. So because I was not happy, I just threw them in a pile to be finished. So then what I do, and if y'all want to see it, I could take you over to the table, but I just fiddle with this and try and get it in the middle here. as much as possible and pin it down, and then do one last top stitch. And then if there's any fuzz and then I typically will, right before I give it or take it somewhere, I will do, unless I'm keeping it, we'll do one last iron. Rita is working on her long arm pat, Boo. And people wanted to know how to make a kitchen scarf because I was talking about it this morning. And so to entertain you, I was trying to show you how easy it is to do that. I'm sorry that you're back in rehab. That sucks. Pam, how's your husband going?
I have 2 of those
Oh,
scarves.
is that, were you making those, Rhonda? Well, was you making those all while Joanna was making them?
No, I bought these to learn to make. I have a lot of things hanging over there.
I've got one here that Carol Seymour sent me. I'll have to find it, but I've got one too. It's got red tractors on it.
They're pretty cool.
So do you know how to make them now?
Yeah, me? Yeah.
So see, like, I have that pretty much centered. I put a pin in it, and then I'll run a top seam across there, and it's finished. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seams. That took, what, 20 minutes. And, of course, I didn't cut the, cutting your piece of fabric takes a few minutes, but it's a simple project, and it works well. And like I said, you can use any number of fabrics. I use that migration fabric.
You're unmuted now. Do you want unmuted? I muted you when you
I'm fine.
When you did the phone call. I muted you for just a little bit. But.
Yeah, that's all right. We put him in the chair and we didn't cover him up. He was busy doing stuff, and I didn't think anything about it. And then he decided he was getting cold.
Oh, all right.
He gets cold really easy.
That's what you told us the other night. Yeah. Hey, Gladys.
I'm knotting my unicorn blanket that I should have had done months ago.
Yeah.
It's that unicorn fabric I got at the Manor House by the bolt. They had bolts of it, so I got 3 different bolts of unicorn fabric.
Okay.
It had the border.
Okay.
And then it had this, and then it had the words.
Okay. Fernie's got to go. Get your quill
You're
done.
very welcome,
Then
Fernie.
report back to us, Fernie.
But see, this, African fabric, yes, it's a little loud, but it does, if it's cut a certain way, it does come out with some pretty fabric patterns.
Hey, Marla and J Mary's back again. I get distracted over there across the room too, J Mary. And I shut off my camera a few minutes ago because I crawled down under the machine to look at the stitches underneath, and I thought, well, I don't want y'all to see that, and see me get back up. So that was the reason the camera was off.
You're afraid you were falling down.
But like, I've used this.
We would love to see that.
We want Fernie to report back later. Yeah. Bye, Fernie. Yeah.
So there's and like I said, I have lemons. The only thing you have to remember is if you use something that has any direction to it, one side will naturally be upside down. So if you do chickens, the chickens will be.
Rhonda, did you ever get that one figured out?
No, I didn't. This is one, those 2 long ones I bought because I wanted to make them like Joanna's making them expertly. But then I bought this one because I wanted to learn to make it. And then I bought this one. This is just a
pot holder.
Pot holder.
A pot holder. And
that other one, I made those other ones.
They just sewed it.
Hey, you need to get Pam to show you. She's made those other ones. Have you done a tutorial, Pam? Because Rhonda's trying to figure those out. No?
What? This one, yeah, it was so pretty.
I haven't done one.
Oh.
But it's got the little loop on it.
Right. You have
It's
to
so-
make like a burrito thing and roll up your towel and fold it over and sew it.
Yeah. And then this one looks extremely easy. Just sew the bond holder halfway through the T-towel,
Right.
doesn't it? Put a button on it, and there you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's easy.
Yeah, that one's really easy.
Yeah, I don't really have time to get to these right now. I've got to do other stuff.
So if anybody has questions or
My
needs-
pup chewed the wires.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
then,
Uh-oh.
just
That's not good.
you know I'm around.
He chewed the
But
wire.
them
She chewed the wires
yeah,
under my.
Yeah. Puppies will chew up everything, though.
Thank you,
We
Joanna.
have adjustable beds.
Thank you, Janet. I appreciate
So
it.
my grandson's
You're
been under
welcome,
there
Rhonda.
electric taping and everything. And then to keep, I bought some dog spray, but that didn't seem to help. You know, sour whatever. So I got some stuff that you
Sour
spray on
apple.
your body that you don't want to touch with your hands. And it's like hot pepper.
Oh.
So he's going to spray the wires now, put a glove on and rub the wires with that hot stuff. It's that heat like you put on your back.
Mm-hmm.
Just be careful. It's better if you take a little Texas Pete or hot sauce and dilute it well with water and put it on your wires than something like Icy Hot or something like that. Because if it has certain ingredients in it and the dog puts their mouth on it, just check your ingredients. I'm sure you have, but just check
well,
your
let me tell you,
ingredients
she's
because
going to
there
get
can
near
be-
it and she's not going to.
Yeah,
she's
but
not
if
going
she
to want
puts
to
her
touch it.
mouth around it, to explore and it has something in there that can be absorbed through her membranes, you could have a hacking or a pooping dog around your house that wouldn't be pretty, is all I'm saying. That's why I just make my own with Texas Pete or other hot sauce because you don't need much. Sometimes I put vinegar in a water bottle with just a touch of pepper and spray it on things, and they don't chew on them. I'm sure you've got it in hand, but sometimes it worries me because I know there are ingredients in there that we don't think about.
Yeah.
It can be.
Let me go talk to him right quick.
That could be toxic. I learned the hard way how bad it is to give your dogs pork. Unless it's processed for dogs. There we go. Back to the comments. I don't know why my thing is all whacked out. What am I going to work on now? Well, I have 2 bowl koozies to finish. Oh, no. And I had been working on getting this ready to freehand this mat. This morning, that's what I was working on. So I'm not quite sure. I just was hoping that and then I have to sew this, and I haven't decided if I'm going to do it by hand, which I know Annette will say is the best, or if I'm going to do it by machine. My hands aren't necessarily and then I have a couple blocks to do, and I was going to work on some of my missing sampler quilt blocks this morning, and instead I chatted and enjoyed my time with Miss Rita and everyone. Dee was on, but I try and work smarter, not harder. and I do not do complicated bowl koozies. I know that some of those tools or those special battings are great, and if they work for you, but you know, these are all ready to dart. 3 more, and then put. I'll turn this sideways because it's easier for me to see, for you to see. These 3 are all ready to dart. 1, 2, 3, and then trim the darts and set them together, and that'll be 3 more bowl koozies for my friend, and that should be enough. But see, that's how I do it. I just the size square I need, I fold it in half and put a line using either the side of the ruler or a hair marker. Sew that cross in there, fold it on that cross, and even up the edge. I took a used gift card, so that all I do is slap it on there this way, and then turn it over, and I have my dart. And on the focal piece of fabric, this will be the focal piece for this one. This will be the reversible side. I put my rounded corners, then I go sew my darts, trim them, nestle them together, and and like I said, you've got to figure out what works for you. But I watched a ton of videos, and I thought about expensive templates, and I've seen people use creative grids and other templates, and they worked grand for them. I don't know that they're any faster a method than my kind of conglomerated method. The only thing I've seen a lot of people use the gypsy quilter where she pre-cuts the batting. What works for you? So I do need to get these 3 finished for my friend. So I have kind of a stack of little things running around. You're very welcome, Deb. And like I said, if you guys have questions or Donna, yes, I've made cloth napkins. And they are very nice. In fact, I picked up a bunch of linen that was on clearance. 100% linen is what I prefer if I'm gonna, but I use cotton because it has designs. But I was able to pick up a variety of colors of 100% linen a couple years ago when Joanna's was doing one of their semi-annual clearances. And so I use that and make cloth napkins. I have made them out of fabric because then they have a design. I've made bandanas for my sister. In fact, I have 3 or 4 bandanas cut that she wants me to make. So thank you, Karen. And like I said, and Mary and Denise, thank you. This is one of my favorite designs, even though it's not kitchen. It turns out beautiful for a kitchen scarf. Like I said, I have lots of kitchen fabric. The thing was this lady, I didn't get any fresh ones cut, and this lady had ordered 10, and I had put most of them together, and I had 1 piece left that was already cut, and she wanted 10 different African fabrics, and I just happened to have 10 different designs because I got them on clearance because they're obscenely expensive. So I got them for pennies. They were basically throwing them away. And so anyway, I had that sunflower one from Ghana already cut, so I just used that to save time. since I napped instead of prepping like I should have. But that's the nice thing is you saw how quick it went. You know, you saw how easy it was to do. So you can make, you know, a lot of times I will, if I'm going to make several of them, I will do the towel part first and get those sewn on, and then do the long seam and get that done, and then go through each stack by color and set up to do the top stitch of this part. Now this is another Ugandan fabric. Rita, Janet wants to know if you did you cook a big Sunday dinner? Rita, I know she has us muted. She may not be able to hear. Well, when she pops back up, one of us will ask her.
I didn't. I went and got me a hamburger after church. I hunted around for an open hamburger place. I forget where I ended up. Oh, the one where they give you all those fries.
Where they get to what? Give you what?
Where they give you all those fries in a sack. You give your hamburger, and then they pile all those French fries in the sack with you. Well, I forgot what that's called. That's where I ended up. It was good.
Denise, I got these from Joanne Fabrics, and what I did was at a year or so ago, they had many of them on clearance. So as you can see, I bought up a stack just to have for different projects. One day I'm going to learn how to use this camera. But anyway, yeah, it's like where is it? No, turn this way, no that way. But as you can see, I have a stack, and like I really like this, and I was able, but it was very nice to pay like $4 a yard instead of $30 a yard, which is what they're and you have to be careful with African fabrics because you can easily tell a fake because every fabric that is hand dyed and with the wax seal has this GTP on it. It's the authority of Uganda. It has a seal on every fabric that is not a reproduction or fake.
Is it like batik?
One thing that makes these unique is it's similar to a batik. They take and cut dyes, dip them in wax, put it on the fabric, and do the designs.
So it's not the same on both sides.
It's very See,
it's exactly the same.
It's pretty much exactly the same on both sides. So it just has a little bit of a heavier feel than a typical batik, but it will have both the design on both sides. It just to me has more of a cotton feel to it, even though it's dyed on both sides. But it's a, I want to say centuries old tradition. But see here's a flower, and on this side that's where the flowers are. But I don't know exactly what the dyeing process is, but I do know that they block it off in wax to get the different designs, and there are a lot of similar colors that they use. You're very welcome, Susan. I hope it helped. I like to make things that are practical and useful. I mean, that's why we make quilts, to keep us warm. But I know that Joanne's and some other places were selling some of this, and it was from India or France. But there's actually a government. There's actually government protection for genuine Ghanaian African dyed fabric. And I think there was a place that was on QuiltCon, and they sold a lot of African fabric. I saw it a couple days ago. What? You're too fat. You're too big. I can't lift your butt. It's the basset hound. Bye, Cheryl. Oh yes. Get in your walk, but take it easy. I know I'm not aware of where you're from, but I know it's humid and warm here. But yes, doing your exercise helps your replaced hip. It is a very interesting process, Susan, but the bulk of batiks that you buy like this comes from Indonesia. It's a different process than the cotton batik like from Ghana, Africa. And one thing is a batik does not have salvages, but the fabric that you get that is dyed through from Africa has a salvage. And like I said, I believe this is the government. This is actually not just the company, but the government seal, saying it's authentic Ghana. But it's interesting. Five Guys. That Rhonda, it's Five Guys.
Five Guys. That's right.
Linda said it was Five Guys. So you see, this is a batik from Indonesia, and this is a dyed print from Ghana.
Wow.
And that's, and then like, can you imagine they cut blocks out and did the process to make things intricate like that. Very skilled.
Yeah.
I have horses, but the sunflowers are one of my favorites. And you will notice if you look up close, not all, but on some of the prints from Africa, you will see kind of it bleeds out of the edges of the design, but it's not like something they worried about. It's like becomes part of the design. So well, I picked them up because they were beautiful and I could afford them because they were clearancing them. And I was stumped for quite a while what to do with them because normally they can be pretty expensive. I want to make some bags out of them, but it turned out that some of them made some really pretty kitchen scarves, and some of the designs that weren't jump up and down, I could use for kitchen scarves. I'd like to make some bags like from the sunflower, the birds, the Orioles, and some other prints that I have. Make some bags out of them. But they're more of a cotton with a unusual dyeing process that uses wax and hand cut molds than batiks. from primarily batiks now come from Indonesia, and it's a different process and a different type of similar but different type of material. But I'm not an expert. I'm sure one of you is more. Yeah. It's on the list, but then I get things like requests for bowl koozies and hot air balloons.
I set
Hot
down
air
my needle
balloon
and thread and I
pads and
can't
stuff.
find it. So if y'all wondering what I'm doing crazy.
Well, that's all right. You are in good
Where did I
company.
put it at?
Thank you for reminding me. I did drop one pin and I was able to find it. I have an eclectic collection, from pastels to louder fabrics to some that, like Deb said, I should go back to the 60s. Flowers, bees, chickens, because I have a multiple. Some of it is I was getting what I could during the pandemic, and now that I have more choice, I narrowed down a little better. And some of it is I just I see something I like it. I have these turtles by a company called quilting company called Canvas. If you'll come out, and they were on clearance, and so I snagged up the last fit because I want to make a camp shirt from them. I thought they were just too cool for. Now I don't know if my sister would wear a shirt with this design, but I like it, and whatever's left from it, I will probably make a bag or something like that. I wanted to make sure that I had enough to make a shirt, a camp shirt from it. And I think there was only like 2.5 yards left or 3 yards left, and they had marked it down to like $3 a yard. So it's like, yep, you're going in the buggy. You're going to be a shirt when I get my serger fixed. And then I also have people that, like, they go, well, do you have this? I want cats. I like cats. I've had 2 wonderful cats in my life, but I'm more of a dog person. But I have a whole stack on the shelf of cat fabric. I think I have used some batiks after I've washed them for bowl koozies and not had a problem with them. I've not used African, but after washing these, I have used not complete, but thank you, Susan. I will. I have to get my old clunker of a serger fixed, and I was set to do that. And then I had to do that stupid calcium scoring that showed that I was perfectly fine. I have a tiny bit of plaque, but nothing to worry about.
Well, something
But
doesn't want you to sew that. I give up.
it will. As soon as you give up and move on to something else, it will pop up. I tell
hope
you,
so.
oh no. I was looking for 2 projects about a week ago, and I
Guess
couldn't
what?
find either, and I did. There you go.
I set it down when I went to look for the yellow inside of my DMC box. I tell you, I don't know. I have days that I'm somewhat sane, and other days, no.
Yay, I'm normal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yellow, purple, blue, and pink.
And Denise, that's exactly it. That's why I said you have to, if you want authentic African fabrics, you have to look for the government seals because they actually have government protection for their designs.
I'm sorry. It was
But
noise.
HS free pattern from International Sisters. Yeah. Well, see, my problem is if my body would cooperate and I wouldn't have to have surgery and people would stop dying and having emergencies as their caretaker and things would settle a little, I could get a whole lot more done. Oh, they are, Susan. They're and the ones from and I have some African friends and they'll tell you the ones from Uganda are just unique. Thank you, Susan. They're just unique in their colors and they're sought after even in Africa. And markets and things like that. I guess they're kind of the hub of what does it. And but I appreciate that, Susan. It's just patch, and it's slowed down some, but it's been crazy. And then I picked up this for my 15-year-old nephew. I'm gonna make a pillow. It was only a couple dollars because it was one piece of a big panel, and he'll probably go crazy, Aunt Joanna. I don't know if he'll like it or not. I'm not into but I thought it was he's into turtles, so I thought, well, I kind of liked it.
I got a
And I
scrap
think
the
it
other
was,
day. 2
I
yards.
think it was Mark.
Speaking of turtles.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
I paid
this one was
$2 for it at
down
Manor
because,
House. I got 2 yards of it. It's Robert Kaufman.
oh, yeah, I like that design.
I'm trying to
I
decide.
mean, if I have to pick between my sea creatures, it's turtles, seahorses, crabs, and I'll probably think of a couple others specifically. And it's like if my woodland creatures, one of my favorites is hedgehogs. Ask me why. And woodpeckers. And then there's hummingbirds. I really like hummingbirds though. Thank you, Denise. Yes, you are most. I do overdo. I have slowed down quite a bit this year because I did 2.5 years of 17-hour days between surgeries and taking care of my family. And this year it was like, I'm going to take care of myself. But we were hoping no surgeries or anything like that. And I'm working on number 3, but it's got to be done to keep going. And these are minor compared to some things. They're not they're not like replacing a limb or something like that. I try, Susan, I really do. But my sister and I will tell my ortho doc who keeps us patched up, you can't fix stupid. And then I'll look at him and I'll go, but it gives you some of the greatest stories to tell and some of the greatest adventures to take often. And he just looks at me and laughs.
You're in Tennessee, right? Or Kentucky?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay.
Yeah, I'm right on 20. I'm 20 minutes from the ocean. 25 minutes from the ocean.
Isn't it hot and humid there?
Very, but it's unusual. for this year, it is actually very unusually hot and humid. We don't normally have a string of heat advisories.
I think it's different for everybody this year.
In July. Usually from mid-August to maybe the second, third week to the first part of September is the hottest month. But we had a string, I think almost a week and a half, they were popping up with heat advisories. And 110, 112.
Oh, that was last
Heat
year.
index.
We were in such a drought last year, and hot temperatures, hundreds went on forever.
Yeah, and
We've had more rain this year than normal, I think.
well, in the last I would say week and a half, we've caught up on a lot of the deficit from June, but statistically for North Carolina, July is the rainiest month, and December follows it. But I don't know this year. I mean, December, it was freezing. It was like February weather in December, and then Christmas was like 64 degrees, and then it got freezing again. And it's like, well, New River. Yeah, I know where New River is. But I've traveled many states. Lived in about 11 as an adult.
I'm done.
Well, good. Come do mine.
Woohoo!
I tell you what, it turned out pretty. Even for a cheater one, it turned out pretty.
I have a hard time going slow back there. That thing moves so freely. I have a hard time just getting my arm to barely move to do stuff.
Oh yeah, I like to drive fast too. Yeah.
Thank you, Karen. I appreciate
You know,
that.
I got to remember when you come to a point, you're in a curve, and you come to a point, stop, move, then go on. Don't try to go through a point and go around a point.
Yeah, and if I'm going to look up on the quilt, stop at a corner too. That way, you can't take off the way you say groove unless you're in a point.
Yeah.
Thank you, Donna. I appreciate that. I've spent a lot of years.
Why does that keep doing that? I keep
picking up the pieces of my childhood and trying to be a decent person.
Now the next one's a vintage one. It's not a cheater. Look at this thing.
My mom bought a cheater for me back a long time ago. She paid somebody $300 and something for that quilt, and I was like, yeah, they stitched it, but it's just a cheater quilt.
Yeah, I know. I can't understand these women paying me to do these cheater quilts. I wouldn't.
Hey, at least you're making some money back on your machine.
Mm-hmm. But I just can't imagine though paying for a cheater quilt though. Now the vintage ones, I kind of get that, but not the others.
Well, I guess if you like it and you have the money, it's.
Well, I didn't know what they were bringing. She had sent a message. Will you quilt a quilt? Well, yeah, sure. I told her what I charge, and then they brought 5.
Well, that means you're charging cheap. I've got one that needs to be done, and I'm not going to do it because I put too much work in that quilt, and it's a king size, and I want it done really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
It's got black borders on it, and I want the borders to have some kind of wavy thing going down it.
Yeah. You may have to take
3 of them done, don't you?
With electronic, I mean the computerized stuff.
Right.
Not edge to edge, but something different.
I'm actually thinking about taking it to, Ian from Craft Off Kilter.
Mm-hmm.
His quilter lives in the next town over from me. She does beautiful work, and I know it's going to probably cost me $400 or more to get it done.
Wow.
But it's
Well,
just,
if it's special, it's
yeah,
worth the
it has,
investment.
yeah, it's hold on a second.
I think you've got what, 3 out of the 5 done now, Miss Rita?
Yeah, I've got 2 more to do. This
Well,
this one
move
right
them
here I
right
just held
along.
up, and then one more. So
Are they both big or they smaller?
no, they're smaller. I did those big cheater ones first because there was 3 of them.
You know, it may be worth it to them because it not only looks nice, it was within their capability and range, but it has the amount of batting that they want in it, so they could make the perfect blanket. I mean, sometimes when I make my own jerkin.
It was an elderly woman, and she found them in her mother's stuff, and she just wanted them
Oh,
quilted.
yeah. Well, that's special.
Well, it has an heirloom value then.
One,
that?
let me make you big.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
trying to. Is it got fall motif theme kind
It's
of?
got cats, dogs, beehives, sunflowers, crows, a tree.
Wow.
It's called crumb cake. I sold the fabric in rolls, different pieces, and then I cut them at different widths, like 1.5 inch, 2 inch, 2.5 inch, 3 inch. So I cut them so they look like I'd taken my time to put pieces, scrap pieces together.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I sewed those rows into blocks, and then I took my blocks with the picture. So there's like panels that I cut up. So you might have a picture of a honeycomb with flowers on it, and then I put the pieces around it.
Now, Lisa, this one is just a vintage one. It's not a cheater. She sold these blocks. Aren't they? They're pretty blocks, though. I like the design. I'm not sure what they're called, but you can even tell the fabrics are vintage fabrics in them. And this green is polyester, though. If y'all have known older people that use polyester, sold with polyester quilts, I know you have.
Mm-hmm.
Deb's got to run. Yeah, I'm fixing to run too. I'm fixing to run.
Boo, I agree. Most of Ian and Tucker, they have a gift for doing show quality long arming. They just have they've worked at it and they have the skill. Not saying that Rita doesn't have skill, but I'm just
Hey, I
saying they
got
take it.
skill. I just don't want to do it
Yeah.
all the time.
Well, you do.
I'd rather be piecing the quilts than the quilting them. But I wanted to quilt my own, so I got my quilt machine. So, yeah.
Well, Tucker started when he was like 16, I think, or 17.
All right, guys, I'm gonna go. I'll see all y'all later. All righty. Bye bye.
All right. Bye. I'm going to see if I can come on. Hello, hello. Is everybody still here? Or anybody still here with me? Because I think I'm on mine. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm just gonna. I think Rita left, but I don't know. A while ago, I was trying to do it on my own, and I might have done that. So it may be still recording on my own. I don't know. So if anybody wants to hang out, I think it's on mine. I'm not sure. I'm going to see if I can come up in my own stream. So it's either going to come up under Pam Weber or Craft On. I'm going to try to get it to come on under Craft On and so forth. That's actually, I just wanted to try doing these blocks. So that's what it is. It's not yet a quilt. Whoops. It's not yet a quilt. Well, I'm just going to keep doing that. So I just wanted to try working with these cards. And so that's what I started. And I just figured I'd keep going until I had enough squares to do something with it. You want to see it? It's that Kansas City Troubles. Whoop, there it goes. And I need to get back to it. I just, since April 1st, when my husband had the stroke, I've just sort of been not in the mood. Anyway, I am going to, I don't know if y'all saw this earlier, but I had found this fabric at a thrift shop. And this was just the first thing I've done with it. And I did a little purple squiggly back. So I paid like $21 for 3 bolts of fabric. And I wasn't sure what to do with it. So I cut it in strips and just sewed the strips together. And then put the border part on the bottom of it. I had a little girl in mind for it, but I don't know if her mom would want it or not. So I just want to finish it, get it out of my way. And then if I find somebody that wants it, they can have it. Let me see if I can go to my channel where I can invite y'all up if anybody wants to come up. Let me click around. If I lose you, I lose you, and then I'll try to get back with y'all whenever Rita's up or something. I never know around here where I'm going to get called away to go help my husband. That's the problem. Craft On and so forth is the channel. So if I don't see y'all, I'll talk to you later, okay? Let me end. Let me see if I can go to the studio. Unicorn. Quilt. Okay. Bye, Joanne. It says I'm live. Okay. Now, I'm on my page.